Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. What is emotional abuse? What is narcissistic emotional abuse? And what is psychopathic emotional abuse? It's very elusive. It's very hard to put your finger on. However, if you're at the receiving end of this type of abuse, you definitely know something is not right. However, it's very difficult sometimes to verbalize it. How do you describe how you feel? How do you describe when something is not right? How do you describe when you're being mistreated, when you don't like the way someone is yelling at you? You don't like the condescending, constant harsh criticism and judgments, the sort of treatment that you're not good enough, that you're a burden, you do not belong. These are very subtle sort of emotional abuse symptoms. When you're feeling these sort of what we call negative emotions, basically a negative emotion is something which does not energize you. It is not productive. It is not empowering, which means make you feel strong and comfortable and confident in the world. And emotional abuse can be so severe. Again, it can be along a spectrum, but it can be so severe that this person, it makes it hard for them to function. And they tend to carry these feelings from such emotional abuse into their young adulthood, into their middle adulthood, and into their older age, where they're still operating out of this feeling created from what we call emotional abuse. And emotional abuse is really when someone is targeted through negative language, when someone is repeatedly told erroneous information about them on a judgment, on a plane of judgment, a foundation of judgment, meaning it's their opinion. And the receiver of such comments, especially if it's occurred during a childhood, when these are what we call formative years, which means when we're growing up, we're learning about the world, we're learning about ourselves, we're learning what we're capable of, and we're learning really kind of our strengths and our abilities and how much we can, what we call, trust ourselves. If you are constantly told that you are not good enough, or to shut up, or to close your mouth, close your trap, eat what's on your plate, or you're gonna have something to cry about. These are all sort of intimidations. And I know that parent raising has come a long way, especially when it comes to physical abuse. I mean, it used to be, I would say, 20, 30, 40 years ago, that child abuse on the physical level, on the physical plane, was kind of like expected. I mean, I guess it's like not spare the rod. I mean, hitting, spanking, this sort of thing was how children were reared oftentimes, hit with a ruler. Oftentimes, in the parochial schools, kids were very much tortured, hit with a ruler, slapped with a switch, slapped with a branch, which is very poor treatment. Hair was pulled, using cigarette burns as a way to hurt people. I mean, all sorts of horrific things. That is physical abuse. And now the law is really working to protect people from such physical abuse. In other words, if you were to show up at a domestic abuse shelter with, a black eye, they're going to take you in and they're going to persecute whoever had abused you. Now, emotional abuse isn't as visible, yet it is as if, or if not more, painful to one's emotional feelings and, basically what we're going to call the psychology or, spirit of the human being. Now, your emotions are what register your feeling. You have the neocortex in your brain, just a quick science, which is your conscious mind, which is the most newly evolved mind, which is the part of you that loves to learn, that's a voracious reader, that likes to learn new skills, meet new people. That's coming from your neocortex. And then you have the limbic brain, which is the emotional brain. And this is where all the chemicals come out that make you feel good, that make you feel happy, that make you feel joy, that make you feel awe. You know, when you see something spectacular, you're like, oh my God, that's incredible, that's beautiful. You know, and you have these great emotions. That's coming from your limbic brain, your feeling brain. Then we have in the brain stem, it's our reptilian brain, which is really the oldest brain, really created and evolved over time. It's really quite amazing. And if we think about all the, 100 billion neurons that we have, which are brain cells. I mean, it's just really an incredible, we have quite a capacity. And it's said that people only use 2% of their brain, which is a very small percentage when you think about it. In other words, we have a lot of untapped potential. And really, part of growing and evolving in life is really learning to tap into and maximize your greatest potential. Well, anyway, what is emotional abuse? Emotional abuse is when that emotional brain, that what we're calling the limbic brain, where all of your your chemicals are coming from, your feel-good chemicals, etc., are all emanating from that part of your brain. And it goes on to give you a feeling, and then you in turn basically just decide what kind of person you are based on that feeling. And that basically creates what we call our identity and our beliefs. So kind of like your beliefs, your feelings, and your thoughts, that's really what kind of person you are. So we've heard about a good person, a bad person, etc. That's basically what creates, in that whole melting pot of those characteristics there. And when we talk about emotional abuse, it's when somebody who is perceiving that they have more power than you is seeking to damage or oppress or make negative or low energy those emotions within you. So they're trying to, instead of keeping you from rising up, feeling, which up would be happy, joyful, confident, what we call self-esteem, comfortable, safe, empowered, the ability to focus, the ability to feel carefree, the feeling that you can explore life and discover new things, earn money, feel uplifted, inspired. These are our positive emotions. An emotional abuser is seeking to, cut those off. You are not feeling those feelings. Why? Because I said so. Why? Because you don't deserve it. You need to work. You need to take care of X, Y, and Z. Why do you have that look? Why are you doing this? Constant questioning. The other, sort of criticisms. Wipe that smile off your face. Who do you think you are? A parent saying these types of things to a child, the child does not really understand. And so they start with, confusion, they're sensitive to this, and then they end up feeling shameful. What we call shameful, which means, ashamed of yourself, like feeling bad about yourself. It's the negative, literally what's happening is, in your emotional brain, it's starting to create and release these bad feeling emotions, which lower your energy. So, a big weightlifter guy, the guy who's pumped up and like lifting weights, the guy's feeling good. He's ripping it, he's burning it, he's crushing it. That guy is on fire. That guy is living in his positive emotional brain, and he's experiencing it through his body. All these great chemicals and this feeling and, these dopamines, are giving him, are rushing through his body, and he's getting strong, and he's, feeding his muscles, and it's a positive circle, and it's a positive cycle. That's coming from the positive, and you can bet he's got a coach, or you bet he coaches himself. You bet he goes out there and is like, damn right, I'm benching 350 today, and he goes and he makes time and he does it. That is a power, that is personal power, that is self-esteem. Emotional abuse comes when the person in your environment who has either power or perceived power over you is acting in such a way so as to get you to focus on feeling less than, not worthy of, and you're not as good as, and you're, deserving, and you're basically, you should be ashamed. You should feel bad. There's all sorts of emotional abuse, but it becomes really, it's really relayed by some of the comments. So it's usually placed into a child or an adult through verbal means. So in other words, it's usually created in that person by something that they have said, or by treatment, so such as a hostility, negative treatment. They're treating that person with these things, and then they're feeling that way and they're absorbing that basically. So what you have to realize is that this is really what emotional abuse feels like, and that's actually what it is. Emotional abuse, which means taking advantage of really what's called your vulnerability. In other words, if you're a child, you're vulnerable. You're growing up. You're trying to create yourself. You're trying to create your self-image, and you need support, and you need encouragement, and you need positive things reflected back to you. And if you don't have those things, the opposite is going to occur. All the various names that can be called, all the bullying that can take place, those are all forms of emotional abuse. Bullying for sure, intimidation for sure, belittling, criticism for sure. I mean, if and these are all just meant to, disempower you and realize that you can change that. But it's truly emotional abuse when it becomes really a detriment and a barrier to you for feeling like you can function and be safe in the world. I mean, so if that is your situation, realize that you can overcome that, and it's going to take some work. Largely, it's going to take the form of work that you do on your own by learning tools and different strategies and studying about how to overcome it and you can thrive. A lot of it, just in a quick nutshell, is getting into your mental affirmations, positive mental affirmations. I am strong. I am excellent. I am fantastic. I am very strong. I am courageous. I am bold. I am living the dream. And you continue to say these things, and these verbal commands that you give to yourself, these I am statements, are going to resonate, which means it's going to ripple through your body, and it's creating a electric chemical kind of firing within your body, and then you begin to embody it, which means you begin to contain those qualities. And as you continue to do this, then this re-solidifies your belief in yourself, which is like, I can, I am, and I know this to be the case. I know I'm strong. I know I'm a good person. I know I'm worthy. I know I can do this. I know I deserve love in my life. I know I deserve to do this. I know I deserve to travel. I know I deserve to live the good life. I believe this. I know this to be the case. That is your belief. Then it comes with your thoughts, your affirmations, and then getting it into your body and repeating it. And as you do this, you're releasing these feel-good chemicals, and then that's why you be active and you walk with it. You walk with it, you live with it, and you catch yourself, and you continue to pound that into your conscious mind, using your conscious mind, and it's going to soak into that emotional center, and it's going to get all the way through you, and it's going to create and change your identity and your outlook in the world, and you'll be a new person. Peace and harmony with you here today. Please share, please subscribe for people who need it, and please tune in for more great tools, videos, support, and discussions.